Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
My name is Miguel Santana. I'm the president and CEO of the California Community Foundation. We are here today in Los Angeles at a defining moment in our country, when questions of who belongs and what rights are guaranteed to all who live here are once again front and center. I speak to you not just as a civic leader, but as a son of undocumented parents who grew up in fear of separation, of being seen as less than, of being left out of the American promise. That fear lives today in the eyes of children, not just here in Los Angeles, but all over the country. 1 of 4 children in Los Angeles County lives in a mixed status household. These families are being part of the fabric of our neighborhoods, and yet they're facing rising uncertainty and fear. We are hearing alarming reports of residents being detained without due process. Some of those detained are U.S. citizens, targeted because they are Latino. We are seeing the use of military force in our communities. And once again, Latinos are being singled out. That is why we're calling for unity among all Americans, and especially among Latinos. This is our moment to stand together. I want to lift up 2 extraordinary leaders who stand with us today among a group of leaders from throughout Southern California. Angelica Salas, Executive Director of CHIRLA, is leading the rapid response teams in neighborhoods across the region. CHIRLA is providing legal assistance, ensuring families know their rights, and helping communities organize for protection. Frankie Miranda, President of the Hispanic Federation, is here as our national partner. The Federation is now establishing a permanent presence in Los Angeles to build a powerful alliance with us. Their commitment to civil rights, equity, and community empowerment, exactly what this moment calls for. And at CCF, we are so proud to support their efforts. We have mobilized resources to provide legal representation to assist families on the front line. And we are encouraging other funders to act boldly and join us in this work. We are also standing up for policy solutions. Just yesterday, we brought healthcare, labor, and business leaders to Sacramento to advocate for inclusive state budget that protects all Californians. In this moment, we urge for peaceful protest, community solidarity, and shared courage. Know your rights, protect each other, and stand united. Our history reminds us that justice is possible when we act together. From Mexican-American families who desegregated our schools in Orange County, to the fight for birthright citizenship, to the civil rights movements that shaped this nation. Let's be clear. Latinos are Angelinos, we are Californians, and we are Americans. We belong here. We have always belonged here, and we will not be intimidated. With that, let me invite to the stage Frankie Miranda.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you. Buenas tardes. In the past few days, Los Angeles has shown the nation how people can push back against unjust and excessive militarized responses. When we started planning this event, we knew that aggressive immigration enforcement was harming neighborhoods across the country, that more trust, and we needed to do something to push back. We knew we needed to be here with you so we can strategize about how can we defend against all of these responses that is causing chaos and instilling fear. We did not know that the anger simmering across the country around aggressive immigration enforcement will boil over in such significant way. When we heard about the protests in LA, the escalated military presence, I immediately thought about our partners on the ground, and I was concerned about their safety. And I'm extremely grateful that Jose, Angelica, and everyone else that could join us here is doing everything that they could to defend our civil rights. However, it's concerning to see how protesters, including our partners, are being detained and injured as they exercise their right to express their opinion to overreaching immigration enforcement and lack of due process. Since January, the White House has targeted immigrant communities in shocking and disturbing ways, from detaining parents that they pick up their children at school to detaining people seeking medical assistance at work or at their regular immigration appointment. The fact is that people are being taken from our streets and neighborhoods without due process. In essence, they are disappearing not by organized crime, but by the hands of our own government. This comes at a time when millions, hundreds of millions of dollars earmarked for support for essential work, legal representation, and the humane treatment of the most vulnerable in our communities are being illegally cut by the Trump administration. The protests in Los Angeles are a manifestation of the anger and frustration that everyone is feeling across the country. They represent an outright rejection of the policies that tear families apart and cause irreparable harm to our community. At the Hispanic Federation, we know that the most important institutions are our Latino CBOs. So it is not surprising that organizations right now here present today and that we will meet later on today are organizing and are doing the work and are leading the resistance to what is happening right now, not only here, but across the country. Groups on the ground understand why resisting such action is not just the right thing to do. It is the essential, necessary thing to do. And let's be clear, these are not normal times, and we cannot afford not to act. While we know that you remain committed in defending our communities, we also recognize the significant wins that will require coordination, long-term commitment, and adequate resources. And that's why we gather here in Los Angeles, not only in solidarity, but also with the commitment to strategize and allocate additional investments to organize our communities. We call on the philanthropic community, private foundations, donors to take action and support our efforts. It's not enough to just be outraged. We must support the essential work that these nonprofits have been doing on the ground. Since 2019, the Hispanic Federation have invested more than $3.5 million in these organizations on the ground, and we will continue working with our local partner, the California Community Foundation, and many others to ensure that they have the appropriate resources to continue doing this essential work. We stand firm with our partners in Los Angeles, and we stand very strong with our partners across the country. We must construct bridges. We need to be together, not only Latinos, but all communities of color. We are going to fight and we're going to push back and win. And now I would like to invite Jose Mondragon from BSP.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
Gracias. Good afternoon. On behalf of our Executive Director, Luis Sandoval, and everyone at Building Skills Partnership, I want to extend our deepest gratitude to the Hispanic Federation for bringing us together today and for your steadfast commitment to the communities we serve. Frankly, your unwavering support has meant so much to our team, so thank you. Building Skills Partnership shares the immense relief that David Huerta, our valued BSP board member and president of ACLU California and ACLU United Service Workers West, has been released from federal custody. David, an American citizen and Los Angeles native, was injured and unjustly detained by federal agents while peacefully exercising his First Amendment right to observe immigration enforcement activity here in his own community. This incident, communities, right, as we have seen, it represents an unacceptable front to justice, and it sends a chilling attack on fundamental American rights. The force used against him was unjustified, unnecessary, and dehumanizing. While his release is welcome, the initial detention and the circumstances surrounding it sends a dangerous message that observing law enforcement can lead to arbitrary arrests for people in this country. But let's be clear that the solidarity among civic, business, labor, and community leaders was critical in securing his release. And we recognize how powerful this coalition is, and we're going to continue our efforts in ending the criminalization of our immigrant communities, including the federal enforcement raids, and we are going to continue to fight for comprehensive immigration reform and uplift immigrant workers. As a top policy priority designed by our board of directors, BSP is committed to identifying how we can best contribute to this crucial endeavor. As an organization dedicated to advancing economic opportunity and the well-being for working families, we champion community strength and the fundamental right to due process for all. In these uncertain times, it is vital to remain grounded in our shared values of respect and safety. We urge everyone to restrain and uphold the principles of social justice and nonviolence. We believe in the power of collective action, guided by the blueprint of the past movement to advocate for rights and for our rights peacefully. And that is why we call on all civic, business, labor, and community leaders, along with all persons of consciousness, to denounce these injustices. We demand the immediate dropping of all charges against David Huerta, an end to the criminalization of our communities. We demand accountability for the federal agents responsible for this brutality. We demand the release of all people unjustly detained, that all immigration proceedings uphold the principles of due process, and most importantly, a pathway to comprehensive immigration reform now. BSP remains firmly against such aggressions and in strong solidarity with immigrant workers, recognizing their essential contributions across every sector of our society. We are committed to continuing our vital work to support and uplift our communities in the face of these attacks. Our communities deserve unity, our action, and our unwavering solidarity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And now I would like to invite to the podium Odelia Romero, Executive Director of Comunidades Indígenas en Liderazgo Cielo.
Padir just krenle baserenga shaljo akchak cheneto bene yeshenga bene shrabe bene sanita rave yesh. What I said in Zapotec is thank you for being here. Thank you all for the support. As you know, Los Angeles is a very indigenous city. We have the largest indigenous populations of Zapotecs, Mijes, Chinantecs, Quiches, Canjobales, and we have been deeply impacted by the kidnapping of the federal government of our people. Many families have been separated in these last few days that are of indigenous background, that only speak an indigenous language, who, to begin with, are not having a due process as they're being kidnapped across our city, but will not be able to communicate with an attorney within these centers that they have been taken to because of the language barrier. Our community is suffering right now. Families are being separated. In day broad light, in the car wash, they've taken some Zapotecs. In the garment industry, they have also taken indigenous Zapotecs. You know, it's really hard for me to stand here right now because I cannot imagine what my relatives are going through being monolingual in these spaces. I ask you all to continue sharing our news. We ask our people to also go and protest in a peaceful way because we cannot stay quiet. We cannot stay quiet as families are being separated, as indigenous people are being taken. We have been here in time forever. We are the real Americans. This is an indigenous continent. We have been here in time immemorial, from time immemorial. So we need the solidarity of all to speak up for indigenous people. I thank Hispanic Federation for always supporting the work during the pandemic, during the fire, and here they are today supporting the work. And I also want to ask the media to please share the peaceful resistance. Be an ally. We are not causing violence. We are protesting peacefully. Please show that other side of the story. Share that we are praying. We're having vigils. We're singing. We're asking for peace. We are not looting. Please tell our side of the story. George Crenle.
Thank you. And now we're going to have Angelica Salas, Executive Director of CHIRLA.
Good afternoon, everybody. I first want to extend my gratitude to all my partners here, my sister organizations, and especially the California Community Foundation and the Hispanic Federation, because they have always had our communities back. They've stood with CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. They've been our partners in order to advance the rights of immigrants and the rights of all Latinos who live in this country. So right now, Los Angeles is experiencing one of the most coordinated and cruel attacks with the intention to destabilize, cause hurt, and intimidate our communities. President Trump and his administration wants to separate us from our beliefs as a diverse, united community by provoking chaos and fear. But we won't be divided. CHIRLA as an organization stands together with our partners and our allies, united for justice, for accountability, and for each other. What is happening in the streets is unprecedented. It is cruel and at times illegal. Mothers, workers, seamstresses, nurses, men, women looking for work or working. People just going about their business in the streets. They're being targeted for the color of their skin in an indiscriminate dragnet. And that is why Angelenos are raising their voices, demanding for justice. And let me be clear, we have the right to protest. We will not be silenced. We can't let Trump get away with this. We must rise to the occasion in a coordinated and peaceful way. Let us raise our voices in peace for those who have been kidnapped, silenced, and cannot show up for themselves. Let our solidarity be loud, but never violent. We must remain disciplined and not lose sight of our main objective, freeing our people from the grip of this oppressive and racist regime. We can't give him any excuse to escalate, to send in more troops, or to justify violence against our peaceful protesters. During this time, CHIRLA is focused on educating families about their rights, of coordinated our partners and allies to ensure services and to to know that support is available to those most affected, and advocating for these raids to stop. These raids must stop. We will continue to advocate for the detained and the disappeared who are currently not afforded due process and who have yet to talk to their family members or be returned home. Our mission is rooted in nonviolence advocacy, community safety, and democratic values. We will not be intimidated for standing with immigrant communities and documenting the inhumane manner that our community is being targeted with the assault by raids, the unconstitutional and illegal arrests, and the assault on our First Amendment rights. Just yesterday, and I need you to understand the magnitude of these raids, just yesterday, we have verified 30 incidents of arrests, detentions, and immigration enforcement. And that is added to more than 17 other incidents, and that is just in the Los Angeles region. This has to stop. These are our families, our brothers, our sisters, and all the organizations here stand united to defend them and to defend our community and future generations. Thank you very much.
So at this point in time, we will welcome any questions that you may have.
So exactly what actions will you be taking? Are you committing more money? Is more money coming from foundations to these organizations that are helping with legal help? And if you can answer in Spanish. Cecilia with Univision.
I'll answer first in English. At the California Community Foundation, we stand with CHIRLA, we stand with every one of the organizations that are providing legal defense to those who are being held. They're entitled to a due process. They're currently being denied access to their attorneys. And we are funding those efforts that are providing people the basic rights that everyone in this country is entitled to, regardless of their legal status. We are also supporting efforts to ensure that everybody, not just immigrants, but everyone understands very clearly what their rights are. And a basic fundamental right is a right to use your own voice, to speak out against injustice, and to point out the ways in which this many illegal acts that are taking place are not just in violation of basic dignity, but are completely un-American. And so we are not backing away from supporting the organizations that are on the ground doing this important work, because we understand very clearly that what is going on here is to intimidate, to marginalize, and to set aside one part of our community to divide us. And as Angelinos, as Americans, will not allow to be divided. La Fundación está cometida a apoyar todas las organizaciones como CHIRLA que están apoyando nuestros inmigrantes, que están aquí asegurando que tengan acceso a abogados y también que estén organizando el pueblo para que toda la gente sepa claramente cuáles son sus derechos. No solamente los inmigrantes, pero todos. Este es un ataque a la comunidad latina. Cada latino que vive aquí, y no solamente en Los Ángeles, pero en este país, tiene que saber cuáles sus derechos a usar su voz para protestar lo que está pasando a nuestra comunidad.
De parte de la Federación Hispana, nuestro compromiso es de escuchar a las organizaciones y buscar soluciones que son particularmente generadas por comunidad. Estamos aquí con ese propósito, reunirnos con las organizaciones y comenzar una estrategia. Estamos a punto de lanzar un fondo de $1 millón para apoyar a organizaciones que se están viendo afectadas no tan solo por la falta de fondos, donde indiscriminadamente se han atacado estas organizaciones para tratar de que no puedan continuar funcionando, y también apoyarlos en esfuerzos con las comunidades más vulnerables. En adicional a eso, también estamos lanzando una iniciativa que se llama Immigrants We Get the Job Done Coalition, donde vamos a también recaudar fondos a través de todos los Estados Unidos para poder apoyar estas organizaciones que están haciendo el trabajo necesario en comunidad. Pero primero tenemos que estar aquí presentes, tenemos que escuchar cuáles son las cosas que están pasando, cuáles son los retos que ellos están teniendo. Y con esta alianza que tenemos con la California Community Foundation, eso es lo que queremos lograr. Y la costa este, la costa oeste y nuestra oficina en Washington, D.C., donde a veces prácticamente se están escuchando entre ellos mismos y no están escuchando las necesidades de las organizaciones de base. I just wanted to mention that the Hispanic Federation is here with the purpose of listening to the needs on the ground, listening to the organization, testimonials, what exactly is the solutions that these communities and these community-based organizations need. We will be launching a $1 million fund to support organizations that have been affected by strategic defunding, making sure that these organizations are going to have more challenges serving these vulnerable communities. And also, we're launching the Immigrants We Get the Job Done Coalition, another effort to raise funds so necessarily from many parts of the country, but also for communities here in Los Angeles. So we're very proud of our strategic alliance with the California Community Foundation, because it allows us to put West Coast, East Coast, Washington, D.C., sometimes it's on an echo chamber, being able to listen to the needs of people on the ground. Sí.
Importante escuchar su estrategia porque justamente eso es lo que se siente y se ve muchas veces, esa división, esa fracturación entre la comunidad hispana, latina, como ya ahí nada más lo vemos, ¿no? Hay quienes dicen latinos, a veces hispanos, en fin. ¿Y qué tan rápido se puede ver un resultado en este sentido? Porque le estamos diciendo a la gente, unifíquense, manifiéstense de forma pacífica, pero ni siquiera eso se está pudiendo lograr de alguna manera por esa fracturación.
Lo primero que tenemos que lograr es cambiar la narrativa que se ha adoptado sobre nuestra comunidad. Nuestra comunidad no votó por deportaciones masivas. Nuestra comunidad cree en el tratamiento humano de todos los inmigrantes y de todas las personas en este país. En la última elección, los latinos votaron por aquellos issues, aquellos temas que les afectaban económicamente: la inflación, costo de vida, trabajos y la vivienda asequible. Eso no es lo que hemos visto hasta ahora, y eso la comunidad lo está entendiendo. Lo importante es poder decir cuáles son los verdaderos intereses de nuestra comunidad y verdaderamente poderles decir que esto no es normal. Al normalizar esta situación, estamos perdiendo nuestros derechos y tenemos que tener estas conversaciones, hablar con los grupos, informar a la comunidad, trabajar con los medios de comunicación para que podamos entonces verdaderamente empezar a ver un verdadero cambio, porque ahora mismo lo que estamos viviendo verdaderamente no es normal y verdaderamente se está de alguna manera fracturando la democracia en este país y los derechos civiles.
Dos preguntas. La primera, pues, en estos momentos la comunidad está reaccionando pacíficamente. Sin embargo, hay agitadores profesionales que están denigrando la voz de la comunidad. Número uno. ¿Qué piensan ustedes si tuvieran frente a ustedes el presidente Donald Trump, a Stephen Miller y todos los white supremacists de la Casa Blanca? ¿Qué les dirían ustedes para que pararan esto? Número uno. La segunda pregunta, ¿habrá un voto de castigo por esos latinos que votaron por Trump en las próximas elecciones de medio término?
Es importante aclarar que a pesar de que hubo una transferencia de números de una columna a otra, eso no fue particularmente en nuestra comunidad, ocurrió en varios grupos. Pero de nuevo quiero enfatizar que los latinos votaron por aquel candidato que ellos pensaron ofrecía las mejores soluciones económicas para sus necesidades. Una comunidad que no se ha recuperado completamente luego de la pandemia, que se ha recuperado más lentamente, personas que continúan luchando por tratar de sobrevivir. Eso es lo importante que tenemos que recalcar, y esto se está ya empezando a ver un cambio en el sentimiento. Las personas que están saliendo y que están viendo la separación de seres humanos, la desaparición de seres humanos, la separación de familias, eso ya se está viendo y lo estamos viendo en los índices de apoyo o no a la política pública de este país. Va a haber un costo. De verdad, estamos ahora mismo trabajando para las necesidades inmediatas. Y con respecto a aquellos que son personas que no son parte del 99.9% de las manifestaciones pacíficas que están ocurriendo aquí en Chicago, en Nueva York y en muchas partes de los Estados Unidos, de esas personas no sabemos la intención, no tenemos cuál es la razón por la cual estamos haciendo. Lo que nosotros sí sabemos es que la gran mayoría, la supermayoría de las personas que están manifestándose están ejerciendo su derecho constitucional y lo están haciendo pacíficamente.
¿Voto de castigo contra los republicanos en las elecciones de medio término? ¿Llamarían ustedes a eso?
Nosotros somos una organización sin fines de lucro no partidista. Hablamos la realidad y hablamos política pública. Lo que vamos a hacer es asegurarnos que nuestra comunidad esté educada, esté preparada, se inscriba a votar y luchar en contra de las medidas propuestas para limitar que las personas puedan inscribirse a votar y participar del proceso cívico. Esa es nuestra primera estrategia, asegurarnos que todo el mundo tenga la información y la educación necesaria para saber cuáles son sus derechos y que puedan participar del proceso electoral.
Perdón, una última pregunta para
Yes,
Miguel.
yes.
Para Miguel, una última pregunta.
Can you clarify, is that $1 million fund specifically for organizations in Los Angeles, or is that nationwide?
We're starting with a $1 million fund nationwide. We're making a call to different funders to join us in this fund. We're hoping to grow it, but from our own reserves, the Hispanic Federation is committing right away $1 million. And in addition, we're launching the second fund for Immigrants We Get the Job Done Coalition, in which we hope that we also can make that a multi-million-dollar fund to support these organizations.
And Angelica, maybe you can speak with this, or anyone else who feels like they can speak with this. We're still trying to, so many organizations are trying to understand who exactly is being affected, what's happening to them, where are they, how many people are we talking about? Can you talk with us about what you've been able to learn about the actual people who were being detained, who are unaccounted for, and where they are?
See, this is an issue, and the fact that you're asking me where they are, that is the same question that the family members are asking. So based on our rapid response work and our conversations and engagement with the family members, we believe that way over 300 people have already been detained. They've been detained at the federal courts. They've also been detained in work sites, multiple work sites, and these raids have been ongoing on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday. So every single day there are raids. I have never in my entire professional life seen anything like what I'm seeing today. So it is an enforcement blitz. Just yesterday, I said earlier, 30 verified enforcement actions in just our region. And that means that we have people who are being detained and being taken to detention centers who are not able to speak to their loved ones because of the mass number of people who are being detained, but also to their attorneys. Our Rapid Response Network is set up to quickly get to the detention centers and offer legal representation for the individuals who are detained. As of yesterday at 5 o'clock, of all those hundreds of people who've been detained, we were only allowed to see 5, okay, 5. Even though there are legal settlements that actually give us the ability to see them immediately, especially since we're so close to the border region, and anybody could be deported in a matter of 2 hours. So this is the issue. We can't find many of the loved ones. We don't know if they're in Adelanto, are they in Santana, are they in Desert View? We do know that some have already been sent to Texas, Louisiana, and so we need to get to these folks as quickly as possible. The other thing that we're seeing is indiscriminate enforcement. So that therefore, we have U.S. citizens, as was said earlier by Miguel Santana, we have U.S. citizens who are being asked for their documents and not believed when they attest to the fact that they are U.S. citizens, that just happen to be Latino. And so this is what we have as of today. And the enforcement continues every day through the Rapid Response Network. Every day in the morning, we get a new report of sightings. I want to tell you that as of yesterday, we've had over 3,000 calls to our hotline, to our front desk. We're combing through, talking to relatives, and many of these relatives, mixed status families, but also some of the spouses, the children, they're also undocumented, so they're fearful as well. And so they are dependent on our organizations, on all of these organizations, on Cielo, on all the BSP, everybody who's behind me, in order to get to their loved ones. The car wash community has been extremely hit. Right now, the Clean Car Wash campaign is actually working with those families because so many car washes have been hit throughout the city. The National Day Labor Organizing Network and the specific day labor corners all over the region have been hit. Street vendors have been picked up. This is extreme, and I need you to understand that it is so extreme. And the attack is extreme on our organizations and our communities because they don't want you to know what we are seeing. They don't want us to speak up. They want us to be intimidated and to not protest, but also to not make evident the illegal actions that are being conducted right here in our city.
En español, ¿podrías repetirnos ese panorama? Decías 3,000 llamadas desde el viernes hasta hoy.
Desde el viernes hasta hoy, Chile ha recibido más de 3,000 llamadas reportando actividad por las autoridades de inmigración. Hemos recibido llamadas de familias que están buscando a sus seres queridos. Desde el viernes hasta hoy, no hemos tenido la oportunidad, no nos han dejado, nos han negado acceso a poder ver a la gente y darle servicios legales y representación. Las personas que sí han tenido oportunidad de hablar con sus seres queridos les han dado un solo minuto para hablar. Unos de ellos le han estado llamando a sus familiares a las 3 de la mañana, a las 4 de la mañana. Esto es una situación, ¿verdad?, que es caótica, es cruel, pero en mi vida profesional nunca he visto este tipo de crueldad y este enforzamiento militar y también tan extenso en tantas industrias. Entonces, lo que sí le decimos a nuestra gente es de que aquí estas organizaciones estamos aquí para ustedes, porque ahorita muchos de los familiares tienen mucho miedo, porque muchos de ellos son de estatus mixtos. Entonces, muchas veces la única manera que ellos se sienten seguros es comunicándose con las organizaciones que están aquí, para que de esa manera puedan llegar a ello. Para la comunidad latina y para la comunidad inmigrante nos tenemos que unificar, porque nos quieren silenciar, quieren que nosotros no elevemos nuestra voz, nos quieren intimidar. Nosotros tenemos que seguir luchando. Aquí pertenecemos, estos son nuestros hogares, aquí es donde vive nuestra familia, aquí están nuestras raíces y vamos a luchar, ¿verdad?, de una manera pacífica, pero sí vamos a ser feroz en nuestra demanda que se nos respeten nuestros derechos laborales, constitucionales, civiles, humanos. Muchas gracias.
Comunidades, is it cielo? Yes. Okay. Can I a question about just if you could kind of talk about you did discuss it a little bit about the particular challenges of people who may not speak English or Spanish. Do you know what kind of access to resources are there interpreted? Do you have any sense of what kind of resources someone who is indigenous, or what language resources they have?
At Cielo, we believe having an access to an interpreter is a fundamental human right. And without that right, our rights are being violated left and right? Cielo provides interpretation services nationwide. We provide interpretation services in 27 states across the U.S. And we are here to serve the community. They could always... we hear directly from the communities because they know who we are and they'll reach out. I need support, I need help, I need a food box, I'm not able to do this, so because we speak our languages. Most of our staff are indigenous, we speak an indigenous language, most of us are bilingual or trilingual, and we are here to support with our interpretation services because again, it's not a service, but it's a fundamental human right to be able to understand your constitutional rights in your own language.
Are people who are being detained, do you know if they have that access to legal services?
Most likely not, because if Chile's attorneys are not able to get to them, much less an interpreter. So when they get to, if we ever find them, because it's worrisome now, there's some missing for 2 weeks. If we ever find them, and we work very closely with Chirla and other immigrant rights organizations, they immediately call us. But we haven't gotten that call because they have not been able to reach them.
Any other final questions?
What are the reasons that the ICE or whoever is down in the detention centers are telling the attorneys or legal representatives who want to speak with the detainees? What is some of the language they're telling these people that they cannot see their clients?
So I was present on Friday, all day Saturday, in the detention center right here in front of their gates, as well as in Adelanto on Sunday. And the team continues to be there on Monday and Tuesday. And so I was there on Saturday with members of Congress, with Congressman Jimmy Gomez, Luke Correa, Judy Chu, and Luz Rivas. And this is what is so infuriating. They did not give a reason for not letting us in. We're too filled, we're too busy, not even, just not talking to us about that. The worst part was in Adelanto. As we were going in with attorneys from ACLU, from attorneys from Chirla, with attorneys from the Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice, who have a list of 13 family members who are detained. You know what they did? They ran to the gates, and they locked the gates and bolted it. And we were there with Congressman Derek Tran, with Judy Chu, as well as with Gil Cisneros. And they have congressional authority, constitutional authority to go in and inspect those facilities. That is what we're living through. I was there with families, both Saturday and Sunday, who have been wanting to look for their family members. They have been sent to Santana, to B18 here, the Metropolitan Detention Center, and then to Adelanto, and not allowed in. And we're too busy processing people for some of the attorneys. This is what they're saying. Yesterday, our attorney team, because it's a team made up of various organizations, so our immigrant defenders, who is one of the folks who is part of that team, basically said, we just have too many people to process them. And we know for a fact that they haven't even been assigned beds. So that means they're either sitting or sleeping on the floor. And we haven't been able to get to them. So we don't know who's been deported already. We do have one testimony of one wife who said that they're forcing them to waive their rights, and being told that if they don't, that they're going to get penalized and fined under the Alien Registration Act of $5,000. The wife calls us to ask us, what should my husband do? We don't have $5,000 for this fine. And we're like, you don't sign anything. This is coercion, this is intimidation inside the detention center. And the only reason we know all this is because the family members are relaying, those who have the ability, and there's so few, those who have the ability to talk to their loved ones are reporting incredibly cruel tactics and aggressive tactics.
Just a quick follow-up question. With these actions that are unprecedented, is there any plans to seek any type of legal action against the federal government with the Hispanic Federation and all these other groups?
Absolutely. So ACLU has been witnessing a lot of this. We already have actually sued the Department of Homeland Security on a whole host of things. And so, of course, we're prepared to do that. But what we also know is that they're going to push back, because they do not want us to they don't want me and any of us here, Hispanic Federation, California Community Foundation, Cielo BSP, SEIU, they don't want us to be able to highlight, to spotlight what's happening in our communities. And so it is important for you to understand that, yes, we're going to go to fight all of this in court, each of these cases individually and as a collective, but I also need you to understand that we have to use our voice, our First Amendment right, to petition our government for redress. And that is what we're doing right now, and that is what we will continue to do, because our voice is often the most powerful tool we have in order to speak up against injustice and to speak up as Americans who truly, truly believe in those words that say liberty and justice for all. And when we say all, we include ourselves in that, because we are Americans. This is our country, this is our home, this is our city, and we're gonna fight. And we're gonna fight peacefully, but we're gonna fight.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you for being here. Please follow the stories of the people being impacted. These are members of our community. These are our neighbors. They're entitled to basic rights as people who live in this country. And that is where the story is. So we urge you to follow the people, tell their story. Thank you all for being here.